So this video is about different ways in which we can improve our memory. So as students, one of the things we are often concerned about is how can we retain the information we are studying, and how can we hold on, especially if we have like a final exam that includes everything that we have studied so far in the semester. There are certain things that we need to be doing to retain the information in long term. So especially this part of the module focuses on how can we improve our long-term memory. So here are a few things that I suggest the psychology talks about using mnemonics. So music majors may be familiar with different things that help you to remember notes in these notations, and business people might have heard about SMART goals. So those are different areas in which you have seen the use of mnemonics. So using such things to understand and retain information that you need to remember, like processes or steps or models, this is a good technique to remember. The second one is what chunking falls under, which is called organization. When you organize something in meaningful way, you are able to retain that information, right? If I give you a list and ask you to remember this to get me when you go to a grocery store, it might be hard to remember all 9 items if that's just ones that you know. But if I tell you, okay, in produce, just go and look for these three, and in diary, look for these. So it might be easier for you to remember something in part rather than on whole. So organization is a good technique to remember. The other one for sure that we all have known and we have been told is to practice before going. So kind of rehearsing or repeating multiple times and enables us to have a deeper processing. But understanding that just memorizing doesn't help. You have to know and know the content by the meaning of it. So that is very important. The other one is the difference between recognition and recall, which falls under the process of retrieval. So when you think of multiple choice questions, you can think of it as looking for specific cues. So when you have all 5 options and you're asked which of this is right, you just have to scan through to pick in your memory, okay, which of this sounds like a specific clue that you're looking for. So, but in recall, it's almost where you have learned material that you're searching to just bring in using generic cues. You are asked to list 4 stages of Piaget. That, in this case, would be a recall kind of testing of your memory. So there are different ways of retrieving your memory that's helpful. The other way to help you is remembering the place where you first learned a material. So studies say that you are able to have a better recall when you use the same context or the same space or the circumstance in which it was actually initially encoded. So where the learning took place, if you think about it, it could be when you close your eyes, you go back and remember the place in the library where you were sitting in the corner. So when you think about it, probably that word, if that is where you're getting stuck, it may be easy for you to get it back or retrieve it back. And this method is called encoding specificity. The other one is, I'm sure you kind of have this experience of having a pleasant or a positive things that you are able to recall when you are in a positive mood. If you are in a happy mood, it's a sunny day, automatically you feel like you remember things that have gone well in that day. But if it was a gloomy or a sad day, or the weather was not so good, or things didn't happen so well, it's easy to remember all the bad things then, right? So this is mood congruence. There's so much of relationship between how you feel and what kind of things you remember. That kind of leads me to talk about sleep and memory. It's so important. I tell students all the time, if you are trying to not have sleep and try to get your work done, that can have a negative impact in your learning. So kind of helping yourself to be able to sleep adequately, to give that time to process the information that you've read, is so important and to enable you to recall things in the morning. This leads me to the last one, which is before exam, cramming is probably not the right strategy to use. Multiple studies have indicated that if you space things And when you read something in different chunks, in different period of times, different sessions, and then practice it and then recall and rehearse it, that improves retention during the exam rather than cramming it right before the exam. So knowing to practice, knowing how to practice using massed practice is probably one of the good strategies to follow. So far we saw various ways in which you can improve memory. Hopefully you are able to use some of the techniques in your studies and you find it effective.